Kyler Murray, what he put on display today was, again, what we had been hearing about throughout training camp. I mean, we've got whispers of people who are involved with this franchise, who are around this franchise. Bo Brock's there every day. Craig Morgan's there every day. And it's like Kyler Murray is having a all-time training camp. Kyler Murray is having an all-time offseason. And people want to discredit that, and people don't take K1 seriously, and people don't want to take Jonathan Gannon seriously. I'll tell you what, right now, a lot of dumb people on the internet look extra dumb today. A lot of people with takes who don't have a high football acumen who ripped on Kyler Murray the entire offseason. Cardinals, he's too short. He didn't look good against Buffalo, even though he did. He's not the leader for this franchise. JG and Austin Ford doubled down on K1, and he rewarded them today. Because, again, everybody loves Matthew Stafford, even though he lost last week. There was no question who the better quarterback was today. Extending plays out of the pocket, playing inside the pocket, running with the football. I mean, Kyler Murray, elusive as a runner. You talk about his numbers. We're going to get into him later. I mean, like, he's on pace right now for the career best quarterbacking in the history of the Arizona Cardinals. I know it's only through 2 games, but man, look at a lot of that meat on the bone with some of the defenses the Arizona Cardinals are going to play this year. The number one attribute, you got to keep him healthy. But again, didn't have to play a lot of the fourth quarter. I thought, outside of a holding call, I thought Kelvin Beachum was pretty good today. I thought the offensive line was terrific. Paris Johnson Jr. was terrific. But, I mean, like, we talked about it the entirety of the offseason. Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. are the second coming of whomever has Justin Jefferson, Burrow, and Jamar Chase. Like, this is a combination that the league is going to have to take note of, because I'm watching that first quarter and a half by Marv, and I said this to you guys at the studio. It's like an out-of-body experience. This is like Randy Moss. Like, it's the closest thing to, like, Fitz 3 touchdowns in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. You just know special when you see it.
Oh, yeah. And we saw it in college. It was just, can he bring that to the NFL? And today, week 1 was rough, but today he came out and he showed, he was like, yes, I can come out here and I can be just as dynamic as anybody else on this field. And he came out and put it on display.
Yeah, everybody's asking. Dennis Gardeck's going to get his flowers on this show. Tremendous job. And again, like, we're going to talk about the defensive matchups and where the Cardinals excel, but the Rams came in hobbled. What the Cardinals could not do defensively is make the Rams' offensive line look better than it is. Like, you have to attack a weakness relentlessly. And I also needed to see Jonathan Gannon come out and assert himself against Sean McVay. And that's a sub-bullet that I don't think is going to get talked about a lot, because there's a lot of fireworks with K1 and Marv, and rightfully so. Jonathan Gannon announced to Sean McVay, like, this is not the same Cardinal team that you used to beat up on. Last year was a joke. We were rebuilding. I didn't have my quarterback for most of the year. Look at our roster. Now we're going to flip the script. When you come into our building in front of our capacity crowd at State Farm Stadium, you're put on alert. You don't have number 99 protecting you anymore. Your quarterback is old and brittle and could be a year-to-year retirement kind of deal. Like, I just feel like, yeah, you can talk about Jared Verse and Braden Fisk and, the Rams team, they're retooling. The Cardinals were substantially better, top to bottom, their 53-man roster today. And again, their team, that being the LA Rams, are not going to be healthy for at least, 2 months? Your season could be, I'm deeming it over, but, like, realistically, it could be over. Like, you don't start 0-2, 0-3, 0-4 and expect to be a contender in the NFC when you play in this division. You're toast.
Especially when you don't have your top 2, targets on offense. I mean, we're looking at Puka's going to be out for multiple weeks.
Yeah.
We don't know the status of Cooper Kupp yet. I mean, but it didn't look great. So, I mean, you're looking at another potential 2 to 3 weeks without your top 2 receivers and with a banged up offensive line. It's like you said, it's almost, are we worried for Matthew Stafford at this point?
I love my guy Ozzy in the chat. We ended the Rams today. And that's what I want this season to be about. I want this season, week by week, QB, head coach by QB and head coach. It's like that meme of the Grim Reaper going door to door. And I just want it to be K1 with the Grim Reaper, nixing everybody in his path, everybody who talks smack about this franchise and specifically Kyler Murray. Like, we had a lot of time on our hands here in the second half because the game was over, because it was a flipping blowout. It was beautiful. A lot of people were being quiet on the Twitter streets. A lot of COD jokes not being made. A lot of hype jokes not being made. And I think the Cardinals are fine with that. It's like, hey, we're just going to go about our business. And if there's anybody that I trust to keep this team focused, it's the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Because I'm going to tell you right now, everybody wanted to anoint Shane Steichen as the wonderkin after last year. He's a big fat 0-2 today. He's losing to Malik Willis today. Philadelphia, I still think is very fraudulent. Then there's Jonathan Gannon, who everybody laughed at, who everybody thought it was a joke hire, got his team to overachieve last year by an effort standpoint, almost beat Buffalo and Josh Allen week 1, and just completely undressed and demolished Sean McVay. Like, this feels like, to me, and I don't want to overreact, this feels like when Bruce Arians faced Sean McVay for the first time with, a full deck. He was like, are the Rams viable now? Do I have to take this team seriously? You absolutely do.
Yeah. I mean, it just, we talked about it in the last year, combine era. I mean, you got exactly what you wanted in a front office staff now.
Yeah.
You got the GM you need. You got the coach you need. You got defensive coordinators. Everybody in here in this building they're building a team that's ready to win. And they showed it today. They came out and they showed what they can put on display in just year 2, right? So I'm excited for what this season holds. If we can, you just got to keep this moving. You got to keep the offense rolling early and be able to do the same thing in the second halves, right? You got to be able to put the same product on the field that you put in the first half and the second half.
We all silly like the mayor.